Hello everyone, No Life here. It has been about a week since the October 22nd update came out, so of course we're going to go ahead and jump in. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on it. So, starting out first, we're going to be going over the gas station storm map variant, and this map variant is actually surprisingly really good. I'd argue it's better than the Nancy House or the Mill map, as although it's only a variant of gas station, there's a lot more technical things that went into this map that overall make it a much better map than again the even original maps we got here. Sure, Nancy's house had a different take on what the generator could be used for, as it powers up and a kind of a third way, or rather fourth way up to Nancy's house. Well, I guess technically a second way. But moving on. You have the mill, which had its unique well that dropped from the what is it, third floor down to the ground floor. Again, very unique and interesting and all, but this map has actual rainfall. I don't believe Nancy says actually had rain, it was just thunder effect, but it also has some weather effects that come onto it. Now, originally when Wes mentioned weather effects and why it was in the game, he gave excuses on why they wouldn't do it. Each and every last one of those excuses he made, they end up implementing in the game. You have the puddles. It makes unique sounds. You walk over the puddles. There's mud. Those mud footprints he's talking about, all that. All that's in the game. You go over a puddle of mud. Not only does it slow you down, both victim and family, but it also leaves some footprints for the family to track on victims for a couple seconds after. If you see a puddle of water, if it's sprinting to it, gives it a loud noise notification, which would tip off the family to it. And again, it's just a lot of attention to details you have on the map, such as where you see raindrops falling through the roof of these old derelict buildings. You see inside a Cook's gas station, there's little buckets he left to catch the water that falls from the ceilings. Overall, just like the models, when they stand outside in the rain for too long, they get wet. But when they go back inside, it dries off. You just see how shiny they look. Some of the metal surfaces, it's got that shine to it. Like they just put a lot of thought and care into this map variant. I'm just very impressed. If this is the first map with actual real weather effects to add into the game, I can't wait to the next one where we have a tornado that just rips apart the family house. Okay, that's probably not gonna happen, but it would be definitely something that they did do with it. So, again, definitely a debut map, and I know they did disable it temporarily for a short period of time when it first was released. Something about shading issues. I guess I could sort of see what they mean. It does. Some of the areas do look a little off, but that's something they can iron out later on. They'll need to disable an entire map for something stupid like that. But again, very pleasant surprise them having all these extra effects to the maps and whatnot. So, moving on along here, we have Hans' suspenders outfit. I'm going to be showing that off in a few clips later on. I'm not going to have any actual gameplay, as all my Hans games are nothing special. It's just, typical you being Hans and just kind of winning for free on autopilot. But one thing cosmetic wise I did want to mention is the towel and laundry day outfits. For those of you who played Rush Week last month, you still do have those in your inventory. However, one thing that's going to annoy the heck out of me is the fact that even if you already have those unlocked, you're still going to get a prompt on your screen to buy these outfits if you're on, let's say, the PlayStation and you're just looking through the dashboard. So definitely be careful of that. You don't want to accidentally buy stuff you already have. I can confirm that if you had already unlocked those outfits from playing last month, you still will have them. It's just, again, this stupid prompt for buying is going to be on your screen permanently. So that's going to be fun to look at for you completionists out there who don't want to see any hint that you didn't complete everything. Now, getting straight into it, the elephant in the room, that's going to be the close encounter slash grapple changes. I definitely can say that I was a little disappointed on what they did for the quote unquote grapple rework, but seeing it in actual practice is actually a lot more impactful than it seems. For example, one thing a lot of people glazed over is going to be, or rather glossed over, is the taps per second. With this update, they reduced the taps per second down to 5 from 10. Now, I'm not sure if there just wasn't a cap at all, or maybe the cap is 10. But some of these numbers are getting a little confused. But one thing I can definitely say is when the game first came out, grapples took a long time. And of course, you had the threat of the family coming in and hitting you and instantly killing you. That's why a lot of people didn't really grapple like crazy back then. Plus, choose fight didn't work properly, so it wasn't giving fan members the 5 second stuns. It was just the 5 second actual backstab stun duration. But them making grapples take longer is almost as punishing as you just getting one shot from the grapple as. For example, let's say Sonny's grappling Johnny. With the grapples being so long, in addition to the animation itself and you winning, that's giving family members a lot of time to come over and help out. And if you have a heavy-handed Leatherface on your team, you know exactly what's going to happen to Sonny, whether he has no cell or not, if he tries to grapple with Johnny with his 15-second animation. So, in addition to that, of course, you have the different values and strength and whatnot. Sissy and Hitchhiker, as I'm sure you guys could all guess, are still going to be a joke to grapple until they get grip. Grip is still just as dangerous as it was before, even with these different numbers and the caps. Generally, if the family is running grip, they'll win almost all of their fights. The only exception is going to be with Leland, or just overall a victim with super high strength. Generally, you'd still win if you're like max health, you have high strength. However, again, when you put grip in the hands of Johnny or hands, generally there's nothing that's going to help you win. Grappler might help you, however, in my experience of playing around Grappler, it didn't feel much different from just running 50 strength. I don't know if this is a bug or maybe due to them capping out the taps or just the family over having higher values. I am used to grapple when you're winning so fast. The animation never goes past you two just grappling. Now you're seeing Hitchhiker laying hands on you, Johnny hands, all them laying hands on you, even with Grappler. It feels like it's not as effective, but overall, I'd probably say if you're thinking about switching over to Grappler just to make sure you never lose a grapple, don't bother. Just run 50 strength. Grappler still doesn't feel like it's worth it. And although there is some nice things on Leland's right side of the tree, such as Jumpstart, it's still hard to beat getting no cell choose fight on Leland. But again, as I predicted, even with characters such as Leland with high strength, just being able to damage him enough to get his health lowered down, and you running grip again, lowering a victim's health down to around 50 or so, and running grip, you're going to win with just about anybody. So you still want to watch your health before you grapple and consider whether it might be safer to see if you could make it to a well or a gap or something before just trying a desperate grapple. As again, it might get you killed with these changes. So overall, very happy with the changes. I wouldn't say I'm a family main, but I do play family more than victim. And I can definitely say I've seen a lot less people grappling. Even Lelands are a little afraid to grapple. I mean, you've already seen plenty of Lelands who would barge first, grapple later, which is not recommended. You should always save that barge for when you need it, not just the run cook over in here and quack like a duck. But now that they got the grapple changes all taken care of, the next step is for them to just do some balancing changes on how quick it is for victims to get out the basement and escape. And I think this game definitely be at a better spot. Now, I can't speak of the custom private match things. I didn't play any custom games. I never do. Only custom games I've ever been into were the test things, especially now that I'm solo. Or the footage I got here from the gas station, I got solo because it took me a long time to finally get it in a live game. But moving on.
Now, they mentioned that they are aware that there's some issues with Danny tampering. It seems like they fixed it to me. This is in a live game, if you couldn't tell, and I tampered at no problem. There was none of the issues of it not showing my tamper progress properly. It just worked.
We have Johnny and Rush Week. I could definitely confirm that some of the changes they made to Rush Week definitely were big. I only played about 2 games as Johnny. The first one I got absolutely dumpstered. uh, Only reason why I didn't really use that footage, not because I'm ashamed of what happened, it's just because I had more valuable footage off of the game. I won, so that's what I actually ended up using. But the fact I just got a text there about my video here. Johnny taking 3 hits to kill the girls. It's It's nice for the girls to not die so quick, but for you Johnny mains out there who play that mode strictly play as Johnny, it's not going to slow you down much at all. Generally, a lot of situations you end up getting kills on the girls just from them really messing up, and one extra hit's not going to save them in many circumstances. Speaking of Rush Week, while we're getting into it, they didn't say so in the patch notes, but they did fix all the audio issues with it. The only exception to that being is if you were to kill a girl close to a wall and it plays out the close encounter animation, which it does in the main game for all the other characters as well when it detects some sort of collision issue. I guess because the close encounter kills are a bit less likely to get you into any stuck instances, so that's why it plays. But regardless, again, aside from the closer counter kills you would do in a girl who gets stuck like a stepsister, they scream when they get a hit, they whine when they're incapped, and the intro animation here has sound. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and play that for you guys.
Father, please help!
Now, continue on with the rush week here. They increased Johnny's lock picking. It feels like it's about 40 proficiency. I played around with proficiency a little bit, and around 40ish feels about what Johnny is outputting in Rush Week. So it's not quite enough for you to be able to spam one entire lock off with 40 proficiency, but it's close. You could spam a generous amount, give some pauses, and get one full notch, and get those doors open quickly and quietly with Johnny. So they also fixed the issues with you not being able to see the scoreboard or pause as Johnny, so that unlocks the ability for you to barge tech. However, I still think just picking a lock is faster than barging that door down. So again, unfortunately, there's still no situation where barging makes sense to do in Johnny, except for the actual doors itself, not the doors you can pick. Yeah, we have Johnny's door stun. I'm guilty of not getting hit by Johnny as a door. However, from what I've seen from other people's gameplay, it does definitely look a lot shorter. Unfortunately, it's still the animation of him getting knocked on his butt, so I'm a little disappointed with that. But I guess the hands and Leatherface animation didn't quite look right with Johnny, so they didn't use it. Attic pole spawns. They kept a few of his old spawns, but they didn't increase how many. They just changed some of the other spawns that I guess they thought were problematic, which is disappointing. I think they should just add more spawns instead of getting rid of any. As by adding more spawns, it makes it take longer for victims to go and find those poles. I mean, I guess it increases the chance of others finding it, but I think more is better than less in this instance, especially as there can only be one attic pole anyway. I'm not going to talk on events because, again, as I said last week, events are useless. There's nothing they can do to make events better. And you still shouldn't do it. They seem to have fixed the Xbox crashing issues. I haven't seen any major instances of Xbox players crashing. Still playing people leaving when they're not, I'm sorry, leaving during the load screen. But that feels like people leave because they don't like their teammates more than any sort of crashes. Now they fixed Grandpa and his perks not activating properly. However, they messed up the Texas issues with suffocating grip. It still shows as a level 2. However, it is actually level 1. I can confirm that from plenty of footage I have shown off here. So that's a little issue they need to fix next update. Properly set as level 1 perk. Although a lot of people think that grip is completely busted now and should go back to level 2. I partially agree to that. The only reason why I'd say I don't agree with it is just the fact that hands in general is just busted with grapples. I could show you so many instances of hands just being busted. For example, as you see with some of my clips here, Leland, the highest shrift character, he's got a 40 to match with hands. You see hands immediately start bonking him on the head with the hammer, which means he reached about halfway through the mini game there. That's another thing. The grapples they feel a lot scarier because again you see the family lay hands on the victims, but generally you're good, and you still are probably going to win in most situations. A lot of time I've noticed with the grapples, except for of course with grip is in play, the stats is what totally decides the grapples. You mashing is just cosmetic. You don't really need to mash super hard anymore. Just mash enough to where you're getting your 5 clicks per second. And that's it. Don't go crazy. It's not doing any good. In fact, some people are saying you mash too hard. It thinks you're using a macro and starts limiting your mashes. So you just overall just kind of being extra when you're trying to grapple and you're like super mashing. But another thing with the grandpa perks is in the customization. I mean, they messed up the UI. Have a patch of grass that perfectly aligns with a family perk, so they definitely need to fix that. You can also see it overall just with customizing characters or whatnot, and it was very ugly. Now they seem to have fixed the issues with the doors and gates. I haven't had any issues where I wasn't able to open the door properly. There, of course, are some of those issues where you try to close the door and it won't close properly, and you have to open the door again and walk through it and close it, which that's been an issue with the game since launch. But they fixed blood trails, thank God. The victim's footsteps still seem a little quieter than they should, but at least with blood, you can track them after you've hit them. I didn't check and see if they fixed issues I've seen with grapples for a while now, where after you've grappled a family, a blood trail disappears. This is something I've mostly noticed only on Anna and Leland for some reason. I didn't so much notice it on other characters, but I'd have to definitely check and see if they fixed that. Now, they claim to fix some issues with fast hands not working properly. I'm going to assume it just like wasn't procking properly, as in like there could be a family member would buy you at a door and it wasn't activating. Because from what I've tested in private games, at least I'm guilty not testing it in a real game. But assuming private games and custom games all work properly as they should, instead of being kind of like on different builds, I seen that Grandpa is still making fast hands proc off victims, so I don't know if maybe that part wasn't working and they fixed it to work because they wanted Grandpa to proc fast hands. But I could definitely see why they probably shouldn't have fast hands proc on Grandpa. I'll show off with some clips here. I'm in a basement, fast hands is procking, and then when I go to do some detective work on why it was procking, Grandpa was in the dining room, which is right around the area where he would be detected by fast hands, and also Grandpa's upstairs. I'm in the basement. That shouldn't have procced regardless, but then I go to the front door, and again, Grandpa procs fast hands, so I get that door open in record time. So again, that's something maybe they might want to consider looking at if they don't intend Grandpa to work on fast hands. Victim endurance. They claim they fixed it. That is not true. They only partially fixed it. Endurance only works up to 40 endurance. Anything over 40 doesn't work. So it's better than it not working past 25. But honestly, I'd even argue maybe they shouldn't actually fix endurance. They should just scale it up a little bit. So 40 is the new 50s. 50 endurance felt super broken. So I kind of at the same time, if they do bring it back to the way it was, it'd be okay just because the fact that now that grappling's a little less viable, though running kind of is more valuable, so maybe they probably should go ahead and put it back to 50. I don't know. I just really personally would like to see them look at some of these areas where there's gap, the gap with a crawl space next to it as if they were to sort out some of those map issues like that, again, then that's what we could justify having 50 endurance be as broken as it was before it got bugged. Now, I don't think I played any Cook at all, actually. Geez, I'm sorry. I've had so many bad games with Cook that it really puts me off of wanting to play him. I usually only play him when I have two people who I see with mics that I know I could communicate with and whatnot. And they don't have BS perks on or the low levels. But I definitely would have to go do some detective work and see if they fixed Cook. And I guess I'll chime in on whether they fixed the dead body thing later on once I do that. On the, I guess the next patch notes or more so times, whatever we get in the future. Now, I've not been able to get any instances of me jumping the window with a hitchhiker trap in front of it. The few hitchhikers I have seen on Family House all put their traps outside the window. I don't know if that's something they start doing because now that it's fixed, that stretch not valuable anymore. But again, whenever I get the opportunity to, I definitely want to put on, get it off Bill Daddy and jump through that window and see how it works now as opposed to before where I get completely owned by a cook trying to jump through that window. Now they claim to fix the rough cut thrust thing. People have told me that rough cut is still bugged. All they did was make it so it's possible for rough cut to proc on a thrust as I expected. So Fingers crossed. Next month is the time they finally fix Rough Cut because this is ridiculous. It's been a year now into the game's life and it's still broken. Now they definitely did go through with the whole noise following the victims when they go through the basement door. So this definitely is very handy with family as you don't really need to rely on exterior alarms too much anymore. Just close the doors and stay close enough to them, and you definitely see that noise indication. So I kind of see why they originally said they wouldn't do it, but it's very again strange they double back on that. Then I stat grandpa prop. Unfortunately, this one isn't as impactful as I thought it'd be. It definitely is still easy to stab grandpa, but at the same time, that prompt isn't as wide to the point that you could basically stand in front of grandpa and stab him. It's more so just when you're on his side, you have less of those goofy moments where you're trying to stab grandpa and instead you're just kind of crouching around trying to desperately find that property that won't pop up. So again, at least it's fixed in that sense, but it's definitely not super easy to stab grandpa. You still got to get to his side. So they've fixed the lighting in the customization menu. They're not super duper white and saturated anymore, so that's good. I'm not entirely sure what the fan member adjusting with the camera thing is. As far as I could tell, it looked like they don't let you look at your character face your character won't look directly at the screen anymore. You know, they'll always be kind of tilting their head and trying to spin around. That's what it looked like they did. The rush week collision things, I can definitely confirm. As I thought, they got rid of like all those spots where you'd get stuck next to the phone, etc., and on the bean bags that just kind of get destroyed by Johnny. So that was definitely good on them with that. They appeared to have fixed all the seam lines with the girls and their outfits. There's still, of course, some clipping issues where they move their neck the wrong way, but just I don't see any seam lines with them. So thank God they fixed that because that's definitely killing me. And I'm still hoping they fix some of the issues with the main game victims, as for example, Danny and his taco meat clipping around his neck. That looks terrible. Sonny, his skin tone doesn't even match properly, and there's a little bit of a clipping there as well. Now, I didn't get a chance to test any of the things with the perfume and the fuse box things. As when I did run through perfume, it was before I ever had my hunter bin ability. But besides all that stuff, overall, this has been a pretty bug-free update. I haven't really noticed any major bugs again besides the whole grass patch and the customization menu. Everyone's texting me, of course. Well, I'm making a video. That's what I'm most popular, I guess. But moving on. They don't appear to have fixed the highlighting issue with Grandpa being bugged. I haven't seen 80 victims from my family games with this bug. However, of course, I'm the lucky guy. My one of my victim games I play, I moved while Grandpa was screaming and got permanently highlighted, which led to the family sitting here harassing me and making me very unproductive. I still was able to at least get Sunny out. I don't know how Julie didn't get out by that fuse box, so apparently she got lost in the basement or something. At this point, I can only assume she's not. No, I think she's wearing the blacked out '99 outfit. I don't know how she didn't make it. I feel like she should have made it, but again, at least one person got it. That's all I care about when I'm victim, just one person escaping. But that being neither here nor there, I guess that's really about it. I feel like I really spoke my piece on everything more or less as it came up. There's not anything that really sticks out to me at all. I'm going to make another video going on family and I guess sort of victim balance. If not next week, definitely the week after. There's still a couple of, if not a few videos I want to get out first before then. I'll try to see if I can get that Nancy rework video out by the end of the week. It all depends on what's going on my schedule. Definitely not as busy work-wise and stuff as I was last month, so that gives me a bit more time to do some videos for you guys, as I was a little tapped for those videos before. But again, before I make this video super long, I'm just going to go ahead and thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. And as always, if you haven't already, get a life.